Alright, time for another video. These are the lines for your oil cooler, and these go into that adapter. Well, if you've had OBS's, this is off at 96. I don't know if it applies to 95 if they did that or not, but they have these crappy connectors on them. There's a clip that goes in here, it snaps over the top. Then you've got one of these plastic things to hold it in place. Well, these are notorious for leaking. They're terrible. I don't know why Jim did it. The place I got it, the guy probably thought this was just a quicker way when it goes down to the assembly line just to snap it in. So I cleaned it, put it all back together. It still leaked. And so I went to a place called Florida Rubber and Hose. Good place. So I took this, and this one here is off my Suburban. I rebuilt the engine, so I was able to haul stuff up there with me to see what I needed. What they came up with, I thought I was going to use a flare fitting, but they said on this old steel tubing, he said they're tough to flare. So this has got a metal ferrule in it. It's an aerospace design. So what you do is you cut this off. I cut the I cut it off with a good tubing cutter, and a good one will cut steel. So when you're cutting it, don't get in a hurry, just a little at a time, little at a time. You don't want to cut these with a hacksaw because you're going to get a bunch of metal shavings in there, and this is for the oil, so you don't want anything floating around in there. Then this right here, like I said, you might be able to see it, but there's a black metal ferrule that goes in there. And what I did is I took 1500 Scotch-Brite, cleaned it up. When you use these, you don't want any nicks or have it out of round or anything, because that ferrule's got to slide on there real smooth. And these threads are the same as the one that goes into the side of that. So you'll slide it on after you get this installed. And this is a 13/16 wrench that you'll have to use. Now I'm using a crescent wrench on here. I don't have any open-end wrenches that I can use, but that's okay. The crescent wrench doesn't bother me. It's wider, so it'll be less likely wanting to slip off of it. And of course, I put a little bit of pipe dope on here, but what I do is I go from about halfway back. I don't want any of that stuff getting down on the front. Like I said, you're dealing with oil. You don't want crap getting around in there. So I do it about halfway up, and I got high temperature RTV. Clean everything up real good. Put it in there. Put your wrench on it, crescent wrench on here, and tighten it up. Now I'm going to do it when this stuff's a little bit wet, in case I twist it a little bit while I'm tightening these up. So I'll do that. But this is a good way to fix these. If yours is not leaking now, good for you. You're lucky, but they're eventually going to leak. But this is the way I found to fix them. I like it. I didn't want to use flares on. I don't know if I mentioned it. They said don't flare old steel. It could split, and it doesn't do real well. So they gave me these. Love them. They were about $8 a piece. I'll put the part number in the pinned comment, at least the Florida Rubber and Hose part number. The tubing's a 1/2 inch. The thread diameter, it says 0.6 on my dial indicator. So I don't know what that is in inches, but that's 0.6, and it slides on real good. But I sanded that off just to make it nice and clean. I want a nice clean surface whenever I clamp this down. So this is the easiest way I found to fix these. I looked at a lot of different ways to do it, and then you don't have to cut your line back and maybe put like a rubber hose after you do something. I didn't want to do any of that. This is back where it's metal, that it needs to stay rigid like that. Now when I cut this off, this, and we put this one back on, you'll notice that the threads are a little bit a further distance. I don't care about that. There's a bracket up front that takes a 13mm bolt where you can loosen it, and that holds your rubber lines in place. So I'll push it back, put it in there where it shoves it in there, because this line needs to bottom out in this section here. So, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit tight, you just clamp everything back down. But that's my fix for it. Hopefully that'll help you, and y'all have a good one. Alright, I wanted to add one here. I'll add two. I forgot to zero out my digital caliper. This is a 5/8 fitting, and I believe that is a fine thread. Looks like that to me. Other side's 1/2" OD, and when you use these, get a metal ferrule right here that points, let me get it in there. The ferrule points like this into the fitting. You don't want to reverse it, it won't work. So I just want to clarify. I should have known better. I used to do engineering drafting, and that 0.6 just didn't make sense to me. So that's what it is. So if you can't find them at Florida Rubber and Hose, you might be able to find something online at a supplier. This is just regular steel, it's not stainless. So just a couple clarifications. Don't want to sound like an idiot. Alright, I'll add another one at the tail end showing everything installed. Alright. Alright, let me show you what it looks like installed there. That's a 13/16, like I said, on the main body of the fitting. I had to use 22mm on the tightening nuts. That is a tight fit. Very tight fit getting those on. Put your top one on first, and then do your bottom one, but you're going to have to use open end wrenches. Now the sealant I put on those threads, that high temperature, I have to let it fully cure for 24 hours. So I'll start it up tomorrow and make sure there's no leaks. What I'll do is I'll put a comment down there after I start it tomorrow and let you know if I have any drips, if I got to tighten up those nuts a little bit. But that I think that's going to turn out a lot better than what was on it. So we'll see. Alright, let me get this thing shut off. I can't get my finger to it. Y'all have a good one.